let's get right to it. The Browns, obviously winners on Sunday over the Colts, but as is the case a lot of times in the NFL on Mondays, we have to start with some of the bad news, and that, of course, is injury news. And we found out today that Greedy Williams is going to go on injured reserve. I guess it's a little bit of a surprise at this point. I've had some back and forth with our Football Insider subscribers over Greedy whenever his name comes up. And I've always said that it sure feels like this injury has caught the Browns by surprise, because you'd have thought they'd have IR'd him at the beginning of the year. If they obviously knew he was going to miss this much time. They didn't. Now they've kind of gotten to this point where this is certainly going to be an issue where it's going to last longer than they had to have thought.
So it's really unfortunate because now that means that Grant Delpit, their second round safety, and their second round cornerback from last year in Greedy are both out for either all of the season or much of the season. And that's unfortunate because that's really not what they were hoping for in their secondary. And their secondary is taking a lot of heat. And I think that these two guys being out have a lot to do with it.
Yeah, obviously the good news is they have some depth there at corner. Terrence Mitchell has stepped in, and this is a guy that has started before, and he's playing pretty well this year. And now Kevin Johnson is back healthy. He played a fair amount yesterday, so you've kind of got him now in the nickel. I know MJ Stewart has been getting out there. So they're getting healthier, at least in the cornerback rooms. But not having Greedy is, they decided to go into this season with him as the number 2 corner. And this was going to be an important season for him. I think we committed a lot of offseason talk to Greedy and whether he would be the answer across from Denzel Ward. And unfortunately, I just don't know if we're going to get that answer this year. And it's nobody's fault. Injuries happen, but it's a tough team building thing now for the Browns that they're going to have to figure out with maybe not a whole lot of information.
So I think they're going to have to work around these two guys as they move forward in their roster building. And I think even, with the trade deadline coming up here on November 3rd, I think they're going to have to look around and see what they can find. Now, fortunately, Ronnie Harrison stepped in and gave them some really nice safety play yesterday. Obviously, he had the pick 6. That's amazing. They have not had really very good safety play this year. Those two guys, Carl Joseph and Sendejo, they have been hovering around grades in the 40s, according to Pro Football Focus. That puts them in the 69th best and 75th best safeties. That's not going to cut it. I mean, you've got to be up in the teens, at least the 20s, if you're getting the kind of performance that your team needs you to have. So hopefully Ronnie Harrison, now he's got a concussion. He got a concussion in that game. Sheldrick Redwine stepped in for him and played really well. And I think there's more that Sheldrick can do. He's excited to go out there and show what he's got. Didn't get a chance until yesterday, sort of surprisingly, but got the chance, came up with a pick of his own. So I think you'll be seeing more of him. He graded out really well in that game. He graded out higher than any other Browns defender against the Colts, Sheldrick Redwine did. So I think better safety play is on the horizon as well.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what Sheldrick Redwine can do. Obviously, it was great. He came in and he made that play, played really well. And now look, if he's called upon to start, that's a very different situation. When Ben Roethlisberger can go into a game and know, hey, here's a guy who's hasn't played a whole lot. We're going to pick on him a little bit. We're going to test him. Chase Claypool just had 4 touchdowns on Sunday. That's always a good opportunity to kind of see what a guy can do. But certainly credit to Sheldrick for coming in. And with Ronnie Harrison, sometimes with guys like this, fans, they want to see a guy play, right? And I think, for us, I think we kind of wanted to see what Ronnie Harrison could do too, and it just wasn't happening. Concussion aside, not knowing how that's going to play out over the course of the week, but maybe, with Carl Joseph suffering that injury in practice, it's one of those things where, okay, now this coaching staff was forced to put him out there. And when they put him out there, he performed really well, made one of the biggest plays in the game. And he sort of forces their hand a little bit. Sometimes it can be a blessing in disguise if an opportunity pops up for a guy, especially like Harrison.
Yes, and he only played, I can't remember how many snaps. It wasn't a ton of snaps.
It was like 20. I think it was in the game. I thought you were going to say for the season. I think it was like 25.
Oh, yeah, 25.
I don't know what it was before the concussion.
I think it was somewhere around 19, 20, but he graded out extremely well in the snaps that he had as well. So again, I think if you look at Sheldrick and Ronnie, and once he gets back from this concussion, you might be looking at a shakeup at the safety position with those two guys.